When it comes to Bitcoin and Bitcoin community, you hear the phrase broken money a lot. But what does it really mean? What does it really mean? So basically, the idea of money was supposed to be that you held your value and then later were able to trade it for the same value of when you acquired the money. So in other words, you work, you earn money for that work, then later you need something, you trade the money that you acquired for your earlier work for the thing that you need, and you get the same value that you extracted of your work to get the next thing. But what's happening is that when you go to trade your money in for the new thing, your money has been devalued by a percentage, and that's why it's broken. That's what broken money is. So for people like me, for everybody, but like in my job, we are always trying to maintain the quality of properties that we're using as short-term rentals, medium-term rentals, targeting nurses and doctors, and it takes a good amount of upkeep. So we've always held a reserve account, but what was happening in the beginning of my career is that, and first I was working for somebody, and then later we opened our own business. But what's happened in my career is that, because he had this problem too, is that the money is broken. So in other words, if you need to, I'll give you an example. If you need to, I'm going to give you two examples. One, I'm going to use Brooklyn Brownstone. There was a leak, and the reason there was leak and there was mold inside an apartment is that the pointing of the brick on the outside was no good. It had to be repointed. So that's a big job. I think that job was quoted at $150,000, right? The brownstone in question was probably worth about $5-6 million at the time. This was like maybe 2018 or something, and we managed the building. It was a 4-unit apartment building. Each place was paying $5-6 thousand in rent for basically a floor of the apartment of the building, and they were like 2 or 3 bedroom apartments. And this one was in really bad shape. We actually had to like create basically a meat locker to separate the room that was facing the bad brick and the mold from the rest of the house, so they could continue to live there while we fixed this problem, right? And we did fix the problem, and we ended up not repointing the brick because it was too expensive. So the point is that because the money is broken, you can no longer afford to fix the very thing that needs fixing. And that's how the system is built. So what happens is eventually the person, the owner, will sell. And then a new owner will come with new money and a new budget for repairs and fix the shit that needs to be fixed, and then start decaying as well and eventually sell. And it might go over 20 years or something, but that's how it works. So that's a broken system. In other words, the system is broken, and the system is built to create transactions essentially while devaluing your currency, while devaluing your worth and your money. So when you sell it, you make more dollars, but in terms of value, you really just held your value, and you lost the ability to maintain the very thing that's valuable that you bought to hold your value. Does that make sense? So with Bitcoin, you're able to put your money into something that's built to be a store of value. It's digital, it doesn't need maintenance, it's non-consumable, and that makes it a much better place to hold. Not to mention that it has fixed supply and it's not going to suffer inflation. So there's so many reasons why it's superior and it's built for it. And what's going to happen is over time, maybe not the boomers, but the next generation will, rather than store their money in real estate, will store their money in Bitcoin. And that's going to bring the prices down. Not immediately, and probably not in dollar terms, but in Bitcoin terms. So that's a very interesting thing. So if you're a real estate investor, or you just want to maintain the value of your real estate, something to do is to take out a line of credit, create cash with your equity, and then put that cash into Bitcoin. That way you don't have broken money to maintain your things. You can maintain your thing, your house, your investment, whatever it is, you can maintain it with sound money as opposed to broken money, money that's actually going to buy you more easily. It's deflationary. So instead of running in this inflationary hamster wheel, you're now going up at a faster pace than the maintenance, and that means you can actually perform the maintenance theoretically forever. And that's what's so awesome about using Bitcoin as a store of value for your real estate in this case, but anything that has historically a broken system on it, right? And needs maintenance. So that's one example. Another example, and I think this is probably the best example, and I may have told the story before if you watch my content. We had we have a 10-unit apartment, and it's really beautiful. It's on like two acres of land, and there's a single family house, 5-unit, and a 4-unit, all totaling 10. And it's called Spring Park Gardens. You can look it up. It's very nice, very green. There's vultures in the trees. Like it's a beautiful part in Jacksonville, very close to downtown, like maybe 5 minutes from downtown, but not in downtown. So it's like more green space. And it was an old dormitory for the nuns who ran the children's school, which is across the street. The children's school is still there. They just no longer use the dormitory. So they sold the dormitory in pieces. We reconstituted it, put it back together, and we run it. It has beautiful brick with bay windows. It's a very, very historical, awesome setup. Really, really beautiful real estate. When we were gardening, there was a bunch of like elephant trees and just like weeds of different sorts. And my car is telling me to stay under 65 miles per hour, or else I'm going to lose. I only have 20% charge. I'm not going to make it. Right now I'm on target for 2%, but if I go too fast, I'm going 83. I'm not going to make it. NGMI, man, NGMI. So when we were gardening, we discovered that there was underneath a little brick built pool, like pond, I should say. Like probably was like a koi pond or something. And the more we uncovered it, we realized it's actually in the shape of the all-seeing eye. So this was super interesting to me because I'm thinking, oh, you know what? The Freemasons must have built the school and built the dormitory, just built everything, and they stamped it with their like cosmic all-seeing eye energy, right? Which is amazing. And I wish it was still operational, the pond, but it's not, because it fell into disrepair, not because of us. When we bought it, when we took over, and I own a piece of it, when we bought it, when our partnership bought it, that's how I should phrase it. When our partnership bought it, it was already buried. We uncovered it, and one day I'd like to reconstitute it, but it takes money. And the problem is, there's so much other deferred maintenance. We had to fix a roof, we had to redo windows, we have to redo plumbing, we have to fix HVACs, install new ones. Like there's so much work. Like in other words, we've spent maybe 200,000. We've held it since 2020, maybe 2019. We've had to spend $200,000 in repairs, right? And we spend that $200,000 with broken money. So where are we? We're in debt. In other words, we have a line of credit, which is maxed out. We have credit cards, which are maxed out. And we're able to repay it because we have good income. But we're not able to go, hey, let's do this pet project that makes us no money back. It's just beautiful and it's just cool energy. We don't have any money for that. And that's because of the fiat system. Now, if in 2019 we had put our repair budget in Bitcoin, we would now have a fuck lot more money to do repairs with. So in other words, that was then, and maybe we never have the velocity that we had then. I don't really give a shit. The fact is, using sound money, you have a velocity that's in your favor as opposed to a velocity that is not in your favor. You'll have more reserve. You'll be able to sell some Bitcoin or loan against your Bitcoin, create fiat, and then go do the gardening, repair the plumbing, remake the fountain. I'm calling it a pond. Fountain. Redo the fountain, have the water clean again, maybe put some fish into it, and have a beautiful, tranquil, proper space that it was meant to be. So that's really interesting. So if the money is sound, you're able to do that. Right now, the best investors take their money, they put it, especially if they have like over 500,000, they put it in a fund with a stock, what do you call them, a financial advisor, and let the financial advisor give them loans against their collateral, and then invest their collateral and try to make 10% gains. That's a really good idea. That's probably the best idea out there before Bitcoin. Now with Bitcoin, you can blow that out of the fucking water, and you should. So anyway, so that's what you should do as a real estate investor or as a person who owns real estate. There's some really good ways to do this. Horizon offers lines of credit off of your home equity, but you can also just go to your bank and take out a line of credit. right? Or you can refinance and cash out. So I would use your equity to create that kind of reserve fund and then have that reserve fund grow with you. I think that is an absolutely essential point. Things take maintenance. There's a constant burn rate. I would say just estimate whatever the value of your home or your investment is. 10% of that is a burn rate. It might be higher. I use 13%. I do that as a combination of kind of maintenance and capex. Some things are long term, like roofs, but some things are short term, like I just need to buy some flowers to beautify the front or something. So that combo, I'd say that's about 10%. Sorry, about 13%. I'd say it's a little bit higher than 10%. But for rule of thumb and simple math, 10% is fine. The fact is, if you set that aside in Bitcoin, you're saving your ass. So that's the main point here, and it's a really good idea. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any better ideas, better ways to monetize things, better ways to take equity, because I am certainly open to doing it. We have a few tricks, but you know, I would like more tricks. And these accounts that let you lend against your Bitcoin are really awesome. There's like Lendin, whatever it's called, LEDN, and there's Strike and Jack Mallers are fucking awesome. And there's others. So let me know if you have some better ones. Down to 1%. Whew, cutting it close, cutting it close. So yeah, that's the plan. DCA every day. This is how empires are built with sound money.